Hello. Hello, this is Liz. Welcome to my little urban homestead. This video is in response to the lady from Living on a Dime. I live in the UK and I started canning about 6-7 years ago, something like that. At the time I was still working, so there was more income, and it was an expense for us to actually buy the pressure canners. But I feel that they more than pay for themselves, because now, 6 years down the line, the major earner, which was me, I don't work at all because of medical issues. These Kilner jars I bought an awful lot of, but because it was cheaper to actually, although they were expensive here, it was cheaper to buy these than import the mason jars and the ball jars from America and paying all the rest on top of it. I had to do that with the canners anyway, and but I bought a lot of the Kilner jars. Now this is a litre jar, and but the pint size jars were around about £2.50 each for just one jar, which is expensive. But once you've got them, that's it, you've got them. You can use them absolute loads of times. The lids themselves were expensive here in this country, the metal lids. That's why I looked into having Tatler lids. They're more expensive, double the price than the metal lids, but they can last me up to 10 goes, which really does make them cheaper. So it makes a difference having the Tatler lids. Like I said, they are an expense at the outset, but they pay for themselves because of their reusableness, if that's a word. Not last year, but the year before, I managed to get some from Home Bargains, the pint size Kilner jars for 80p a jar, and they would order them in bulk for me. My shelves, there isn't much canned stuff behind me because we haven't yet got to the full-blown summer harvesting, and when I do, these shelves are going to be full. Buying in bulk, when I have gone a few times and I've bought quite a lot of stuff from them, they've actually given me extra produce. It's like, thank you for spending so much here. The initial outlay can be expensive. If you're lucky enough to find an actual pressure canner, not a pressure cooker, but a pressure canner second hand, go for it. If it works, get it checked out, that it's holding its pressure and that, brilliant, you've saved money there. And as I said, I believe from the UK anyway, that Tatler lids are the best investment. The lady on there equates her time. Yeah, agreed. Say you put £5 down as being your hourly rate, and you do a canning session and you've canned, say, 14-16 jars of potatoes, and it's taken you 2 hours. So is that 2 hours financial? Is that what she's taken into consideration. So there's £10 added on to the cost of buying the item and the cost of the heating. Is that all lumped together? So if you did that, it would work out more expensive than just buying it. But do you ever sit in front of the television, watch a film for 2 hours and think, oh, that film has just cost me £10, I'm on a rate of £5 an hour? No, you don't. Same as, because I don't work now, I don't bring in any money at all. I do have a job. My job is to keep outgoing costs as low as possible. So although it might be 2 hours I spend canning or 2 days I spend canning up, it's still, if you don't put a charge on your time, it's still cheaper than actually having, and it's more convenient and you know what's in there. So I had a stroke years ago and I was warned off salt, so I have to keep a low salt intake. You need salt to live. So I have a low salt intake. So canning my own stuff means that I can regulate. If you don't need salt in it, I don't put salt. I can regulate my salt intake. If you do need salt in it, I put salt in it. But I know how much salt is in there, so I know how much of it I can easily eat without it affecting me. So it allows you more flexibility in knowing. And you don't have to walk around with a chemistry degree to find out what all those E numbers and everything are. You know what's in the jar because you put it in the jar. Yeah, it has been expensive to get into, but because now I'm so many years down the line, I'm not buying other jars. As I say, I've got 150 to 200 jars. I'm not buying any more jars. I bought some tattle lids last year that will last me all of this year and some of next year. So I'll buy some more tattle lids next year. But once you've started on it, you'll be amazed how much it does actually save. A lot of the stuff, such as I'm growing my own tomatoes, because I feel that the tinned tomatoes you buy, I can taste the tinniness of the tin that they're in. I don't get that with any I've canned up myself. Even if it's been bought fresh tomatoes, I don't get the tinny taste. But what I can do at times, and what I have done before now, is I've frozen things over the summer when it's been really hot. I don't want to stand in the kitchen canning, so I freeze a lot of it, and then over winter I go through it. Or rather, in autumn I start going through it. And over winter I tend to can up things like chickpeas and baked beans and dried peas. Things that you can buy and then do them at a later date. They're not going to go off, they've got their own date, and you can do them over winter. So yes, you are spending money on either the gas or the electric to your stove, but especially over winter, it's doing the added job of keeping your house ticking over and warm. So it does double duty, and I do like things like that. So in winter I also do a lot of stock.
It's a